Ladies and gentlemen, one of the key points that the Honorable Minister pointed out in his speech was the need to create an experience, the need to create something that is lasting, and the need to create something that is not just lasting, but something that people will remember because they are coming to Africa and they want to experience something new and innovative. And it so happens that our next presentation is going to elaborate on this point a little bit further. We're going to hear about creating African brands that are on par or perhaps even better than global standards. And to address this topic, please help me welcome Mr. Frank Mustaff, who is the Managing Director of Horwath HTL from Rwanda.
Thanks. Okay.
Click on
This one. Let me just see. Honorable Minister Balala, distinguished delegates of the 2018 Hotelier Summit, dear ladies and gentlemen, it's a very great honor for me to speak to you at this Hotelier Summit in front of this large and high caliber audience. It's also a pleasure for me to do this in this hotel, in this new hotel, and I'm very sure it will become a landmark in Nairobi, because I have personally very keen memories of Mövenpick, because originally a German brand, it was more than 30 years ago in my hometown in Stuttgart, Germany, and it was the place to be, where the beautiful young and rich people went there. The bar terrace was always full. It was the place to see and to be seen. And for the business world, it was the place to meet. And but that was a long time ago. All the last 10 years I have spent mostly in East Africa. The time for my contribution is limited, strictly limited, I was told, to 15 minutes. So I want to stick to it and therefore come straight to the topic. What do you expect as a delegate from a Hotelier Summit? Certainly exchange of experiences with colleagues, contacts, news from the industry, but of course also information about trends and ideas and suggestions for your own business. I would like to pick up this last point and share with you some thoughts about the hotel business of the future, and of course with a very special look at the future of hotel business in Africa. The background of these considerations is our own experience as a hotel consultancy in more than 50 offices all over the world, but of course the experiences and observations we have made in Africa over all the last years. Well, Honorable Minister, you have pointed it already. You have pointed it out. Africa is on the rise. If you check the international media for news about Africa, there's the one group of bad news reports emphasizing on unrest, corruption, and all the various crises. But there's also the other group that describes the positive, the blossoming Africa. On the rise, young population, African countries among the fastest growing economies. And when it comes to tourism, the new initiatives like visa upon arrival for everybody, Africa Free Trade Agreement, double-digit growth in tourism, hundreds of new hotels in pipeline, and the list goes on. And I can also assure you, when Carmen and I arrived yesterday evening from Kigali at around 10 o'clock at Jomo Kenyatta Airport, it was a very smooth arrival. It took us exactly 90 minutes after landing to get to this hotel. Yeah? I think which was really a very impressive improvement compared to many other, sometimes very cumbersome experiences in the past. Personally, I see the future of Africa as a very positive one, and that's all great news. And I totally also agree with you that, Honorable Minister, that you have pictured the real Africa I've experienced. And as I've told you, I'm living all the last years now here in East Africa. But then the question arises, how can the African economy, and especially the hotel industry, benefit from this boom? How can they create, how can they make use of this huge potential? Because when you look, Just go one back. Because when you look at the skylines of the cities, a little bit too fast. Yeah. Because when you look at the skylines of the cities, I'm wondering, while all those cities and investors are looking for international brands, the Marriott, the Kempinskis, the Accors, the Reds and Blues, and you name them, and the Hiltons, why do they all want to become international Western or Asian brands? I'm asking myself, where are the African brands? Why are African hoteliers struggling to develop their own brands and to grow them bigger? Of course, there are exceptions, and I know some of those hotel owners here personally, but in my opinion, one reason is that many hoteliers in Africa are not actually hoteliers, in fact they are real estate owners. Their pride is their property. It could also be an apartment, it could also be an office build complex. They manage the hotels they own personally, as a personal property. The growth of their hotel therefore depends on the fact that they secure the financing for the next hotel, and after a few years for the next, and so on and so on. Okay, this can lead to a very considerable prosperity over the years, but this type of hotel business cannot hardly compete with the vast development, with the changes within the industry. And the big chains, all those big chains, are proof that it can be done different. They demonstrate that you can manage thousands of hotels without owning one of them. And this business model allows the groups to grow. They can realize economies of scale and thus continue to grow and gain market shares and displace and squeeze out others. So if private hoteliers, and the majority of hotel owners here are those private hoteliers in Africa, if they want to grow and not losing further market share, they also have to realize economies of scale. That means more rooms, creating a network, investing into marketing, developing a brand, and last but not least, also establishing things and gimmicks like loyalty programs, joint marketing efforts with other brands. We see that it works in the airline industry, until now also dominated by the by the European airlines and by the Gulf airlines, but now it has changed. It's starting to change. Ethiopian Airlines is one of the fastest growing airlines in the world and very profitable. Rwanda Air is expanding, and I'm also sure that KQ will manage the turnaround and can become a pride of Africa again. I see a very great opportunity in the development of African hotel brands and the establishment of marketing networks of independent hotels. A larger alliance of private hotels will strengthen the negotiation power against suppliers, tour operators, buyers of rooms, vis-à-vis the OTAs and any other partners. But it will also allow a joint marketing strategy and a much stronger presence on the international markets. However, an African hotel brand should not only aim for economies of scale, even more important is, in my opinion, the quality of service and the special African touch. The hotel experience, as you have also pointed out, must be different from the standards of the big chain hotels. How can the future of African hoteliers, of the African hotel industry look like? Rightly said earlier today already, the guest isn't only looking for a bed. He's really looking, those who stay in a hotel, they are usually in a foreign city. That means the overnight stay is only one part of the overall program. No matter if it's business, if it's leisure, the guest needs transport, he wants to eat, he wants to go shopping, he wants to entertain, to enjoy entertainment. And as a hotelier, I will have a satisfied guest, I will have a repeat guest if I manage to help him to arrange this agenda and to do this in a very efficient way. And who can do this better than the local hotelier who knows the local scene best and who isn't bound by those standard and service specifications of big hotel chains. And when it comes to designing a hotel experience, an overall hotel experience, the technology plays a very decisive role. The new generation of hotel guests, those famous so-called millennials, the young people born between 1980 and 20, they want to conquer their world in a total different way. This starts even before the booking and long before the actual trip. They inform themselves about the destination and about the hotel and the internet. I had a very funny, a very nice experience a few weeks ago with a local tour operator. He had organized a very nice trip through national parks for a group of guests from America, and he had sent the guests a very detailed plan. But after 2 or 3 days, they called him and complained. And they said, no, we want to have another tour because the hotels you had chosen, they don't exist. He was totally perplexed and assured them that they exist, but then they told him, no, we couldn't find them in the internet. Yeah? So that means today, if you are not in the internet, you are not existing. Calm down, it was not in Kenya, it was in a country, but not very far from here. Yeah? But a good website, use of social media, TripAdvisor, that's mandatory. I think that's the minimum. What's the difference now comes with an individual, more active approach, an active approach of your guests. Myself, I have spent thousands of nights in hotels all over the world, and I regularly receive emails from all the big groups, invitations for promotions, other offers, sometimes from hotels where I have spent only one night. But honestly, I can hardly remember any email and any offer from a local hotel here in Africa where I've spent nights during the last years. But there's no reason for inactivity. Whether you are a big hotel or whether you are small, whether you are located in Nairobi CBD or in a remote area on the countryside, those new technologies, they really offer you all the opportunities to enhance your stay, to enhance the stay of your guests, to making it more eventful, making it more efficient for everybody. And this includes the organization, as I've said, and make use of the guests' devices, of the smartphones. Nowadays, those millennials, these are the guys, and I think one difference, and how you can see the difference between a millennium and those old classic guys, we are all using a watch. My son, a millennial, he's not using a watch. He tells me I have a smartphone. Yeah? So he's using the smartphone for appointments, communication with friends. It's used for communication with your business colleagues. For the taxi is an Uber, the taxi is your app, and the boarding pass is also on your smartphone. So of course, those guests also want to book your room with help by using their smartphone. They want to use the time in the taxi already to check in. They want to even book additional services, a restaurant, a meal, or any other available hotel service. So the hotel app can connect them with also other service providers, special restaurants, and book any other stuff they may need. I think Africa is well advanced in the mobile sector. We have invented mobile money, and so the new African touch, these special African brands, I think it's not about African art, it's not about some colorful fabrics or a special African design elements. The African touch of an African hotel brand also means that the guest can make use and are provided with newest technologies, and that this new technologies really creates this experience. These are just a few examples. I personally think the opportunities are numerous. New target groups and new technologies really offer great opportunities to tackle these changes in the industry for every hotel. and especially for independent private hoteliers. And supported by a very strong growth in tourism, I'm convinced that the opportunities for innovative hoteliers in the region have never been better. I wish the Hotel Summit 2018 a very successful course and all delegates good meetings and a very successful business. Many thanks.
Mr. Frank Mustaff, thank you so much. Before you leave the stage, Mr. Frank Mustaff, before you leave the stage, we would like to thank you immensely for coming here once again and sharing your knowledge with us and helping us understand what does it take to create a brand, an African brand that is truly a world standard and something that will be really remembered. And once again, as a token of our appreciation, we'd like to hand over a small memento to you, and I'd like to request our director, Ganesh, to once again come on the stage and hand over the memento. So this is actually a very interesting memento and quite a unique one as well. It's a frame of Mr. Frank Mustaff that was delivering his speech just a few minutes back. That's a live photo taken about 5 or 10 minutes back during his speech, and that has been captured, printed, and put in the frame.